Hey, what is going on, Aquarius? Every time I say that, I think of that song, The Age of Aquarius. That's an old ass song. But it always makes me think of Aquarius. Anyway, Butch Tarot here. I'm going to do your 1 week read. Don't know why I said it that way. Anyway, it is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. I might have had too much coffee today. Feeling really antsy. Anyway, with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what is going on for Aquarius? What message do we have for Aquarius? Let me see for Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. So the first thing that I see, Aquarius, I feel like there is an energy. Now, this is fairly new, but I do feel like you may already know this person, because I do feel like there is something going on. Now, with this person, like I said, I feel like there is a friendship. So this may be a new friendship, someone that recently came into your life. But I feel like, you know, a friend or an associate, somebody that you know and somebody that you've gotten to know. Now, with this person, I feel like there's a lot of feelings going on. There's a really strong connection going on here between the two of you. You know, but I feel like you're both kind of burying it, or at least one of you is, you know, and I feel like it's making it hard for the other one to see what's right in front of them. You know, I see a lot of potential with the two of you. You know, and I feel like, you know, I feel like this is someone that you just, I feel like there's a lot of, like I said, it's got to be someone you know, because I feel like there's a lot of communication, and I feel like you've really gotten to know this person, and I feel like you have a very cerebral connection right off the jump. You know, I feel like, you know, intellectually, I mean, you're so compatible. Like, you've never met someone this compatible to you, someone that really thinks the same way as you do, and it's vice versa. I mean, I feel like this person feels the same about you, but I feel like with that, I feel like it's growing into something more. You know, I feel like you both think about each other when you're not around. But I feel like there's something, I'm missing something here, I think. We have the Seven of Swords. So I feel like there's something being hidden from either you or both of you. You know, not really knowing what to do with this, because I feel like we're not being open about it. With that Seven of Cups in reverse, I feel like it's a hard choice. I feel like there's a choice that has to be made here. You know, maybe having two options, or they have two options, and you know, there's something in the middle here. There's something stopping one of you from moving this forward. I feel like you didn't see it coming, but there's definitely something in between. But I feel like with that Seven of Cups in reverse, it's almost like a choice has to be made. Um, but I feel like I said, we're hiding our feelings for each other here. And I feel like the feelings aren't going away. Like I said, there's so much potential here with that Page of Wands. I feel like there's a lot of fantasizing going on. I feel like you fantasize about each other. I mean, you really have each other's attention. I mean, very commanding presence. Finding it hard to think about anything else. And like I said, I mean, I get it, because I feel like the connection that you have between you and this person, I feel like that, it's very deep. It may start off in just a, friendly conversation, but I feel like you really hit it off. And I feel like the more you hit it off, the more you realize how, I mean, I feel like there may be somebody else involved, or someone may get hurt. I'm definitely getting a third party. At least a third party. I mean, there might be more than one person here, but possibly one of you is in a relationship. But I feel like this feeling that you have for each other isn't going away. Not by a long shot. Like I said, I mean, the energy that you share with each other, it gets stronger and stronger, and it's very balanced. Like I said, it's not just it might have started off with that mental connection, but I feel like there's some fantasizing. I feel like there's some passionate energy going in between the two of you. And I feel like the longer we ignore this, the longer it's going to hold us back. And like I said, with that Seven of Swords, there is something being hidden from each other here. And I feel like, we can build up the biggest damn wall we want. I mean, the self-imposed prison with that Eight of Swords. And we can try to shut this out all we want, but some things can't be shut out. Some things have to be, you got to let that shit out of the cage, because that shit, it's like if you put, it's like putting a baby lion in a cat carrier, like a little cat cage. Eventually, you got to let that shit out, because it's either going to break itself out, or, I mean, it's not going to be contained. It's growing and growing and growing, and eventually it's gonna get out. I just feel like there's a lot going on here, and I feel like not only that, but I mean, I feel like I said, I feel like, I mean, they know what they want. And it's defeating. It's a feeling of defeat, because they want something so bad, but they don't know how to get it, or they don't know how they can have it, or they don't know what's going to happen, what's going to be the fallout here. But as long as you're hiding these feelings for each other, I mean, they're not going anywhere. And like I said, not only is it not going anywhere, but it's only, we have new love. I feel like you feel a soulmate connection with this person, or they feel a soulmate connection with you, and I feel like it's vice versa. And I feel like we need to let that, we got to let that lion out of the cage. I feel like it's going to get too much, and I feel like eventually, what I do see here is I feel like the cat's getting, that cat is getting out of the cage. I feel like, just going after what it is that you want, or what it is that they want. One of you is going to make a big move here. Finally nurture this connection, finally see what the hell it is that's going on between the two of you, because I feel like I said, the fantasizing, the impulse control that you must have with this is just off the charts. I mean, you can't fight gravity. You can't swim against the current. Sometimes you just got to let go and go with it. And that's exactly what I see here. I mean, we have the Fool card, taking that leap of faith. And I feel like once that happens, that anxiety, that stress, that not knowing, the unknowingness of the whole situation, I feel like it's just going to be relieved. Whatever the fallout is, whatever is the fear that's stopping us from moving forward with this, I mean, it's not enough to stop it. I feel like that the communication is coming, and I feel like once the communication is coming, I feel like it's going to be very honest, very direct, and I feel like it's going to be something that we're both gonna you're both going to want to move forward with. Like I said, it's a very balanced energy. It's not just mental. It's not just physical. I mean, it has everything. It has that emotional side to it as well. It's a very deep connection, and it can't be ignored. We can ignore it for so long, but why would we ignore this? Like I said, I see a lot of forward movement. I feel like this is someone you can be completely honest with, completely yourself. But like I said, I'm really getting the fact that there may be a third person, even a fourth person, but someone's afraid someone's going to get hurt. But what's hurting is you and them. When you ignore a connection like this, sometimes you can't always do everything the right way. Sometimes there's never a right way. Like I said, moving this forward, that forward movement with this connection, I see a lot of happiness. I see your cups being filled. I feel like that this person, there's even more to see about this person. And as long as we're shutting it out, we're not going to truly see what this connection has in store for us. Like I said, it's a very deep connection. The fantasizing, the dreaming, the thinking about each other, that's not going away. It's only getting stronger and stronger, and it's almost like when you're around each other, you just want to reach out and grab each other. And that's the thing. I feel like it's very, it's on both sides. It's not just one-sided. You want something more from them. They want something more from you. And like I said, we can only ignore it so long. With this person, we have Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Cancer and Pisces, some Scorpio as well. Yeah, I said a lot right there. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if this resonates, but it kind of reminds me of my brother. It's a weird story, but let's get weird. He doesn't watch this, so I don't feel too bad. He's never going to see it. But anyway, my brother, he was with this girl for a very long time. And they were friends with this other couple. And, the other couple were together for a while. And, my brother and his buddy's wife, they were just like two peas in a pod. And the funny thing is, my brother's girlfriend and him, and my brother's friend, they were the same way. They'd be out sometimes and people would think they were together with each other and not the other way around. They eventually, my brother and his girlfriend eventually split up. And a couple years later, he ended up getting with his friend's wife. They broke up before my brother and his girlfriend broke up. So it wasn't like he wasn't a home wrecker. But they eventually started hanging out and kind of turned into a couple. And the weird part of the story is my brother's girlfriend ended up with her husband. And it's even weirder because they all kind of hang out now. And it's kind of like it made it, they all came together for a reason. And, it's a really weird situation, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't make sense. And it works for them. They get along great. They're actually better friends now than they were before. There's no, they still hang out just like they did before, but now it's just, they go home with different people. That was probably a terrible story. But it just made me think of that. It made me think of like sometimes we're with the wrong person. No matter how much we try, And it's like I watched this movie the other day, and they said in the movie, like, what if you get with someone because at the time you have a great connection. At the time, you feel really connected to the person, but over time you start falling out of that connection and you meet someone else. Like, that's the thing. I mean, you hear about that a lot. Just because you're with somebody for a long time, or just because you feel a connection with somebody at one point in your life. Because honestly, I feel like the world is kind of like that. I mean, I was talking to somebody about that too. It's like back in the day, my grandmother and grandfather, they were from this small ass town, and a lot of people were related. There'd be a lot of big families, and so you had a very limited pool of people that you could date. Because, I mean, I'm talking about before, there was, back in the day, not a lot of people had vehicles and stuff like that, and if they did, they were kind of shitty vehicles that didn't drive very far. So you kind of dated anybody that lived within a certain distance of you. Now you can kind of pretty much date anybody on any side of the world you want. But back then, people made shit work because they only had so many options. First, my grandfather used to joke around. He used to say, when you go on a first date, you had to make sure you knew who their parents were and make sure you weren't related. But that's what I mean. Like, you could come out and find out, who you're related to, and then it dwindles down to, like, there's like 15 people around your age group that you can date. But now we have so many options that sometimes I feel like the internet sometimes can be a little bit of a curse nowadays. Because I feel like there's so many options. It's just like when it comes to watching a movie. I mean, back in the day, there was only everybody from the 80s and 90s remembers the same movies. But nowadays, you can't, there's so many movies out there. There's so many options. There's so many moving parts. But like I said, sometimes we get with somebody, we have a connection with them, and we're with them. And then someday we might meet someone that we have a stronger connection with. Now, I'm not saying you should ever cheat on somebody. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes relationships are karmic. They're not meant to last. They filled that period of time for you. You learned that lesson. You did these things, but, sometimes you meet somebody when you're 20, you get together. Maybe, you like to party and you like to go out and you like to have fun. You like to do all these things. And then one day you wake up, you're 30. And now you're thinking, okay, well, it's probably a good time, or 25, whatever, but maybe it's a good time to start a family. Maybe the other person doesn't want that. So things change. Now, sometimes we get fortunate enough to meet that person right off the get-go. My grandparents were married 63 years before my grandfather passed away. Some people were just meant to be together. And it's, I can't remember that movie. There was a movie, it was like Chris Evans and this other girl. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's actually, if you look up Happier by Ed Sheeran, that song, they actually do a clip from the movie, but I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, they meet each other and they really hit it off, but she's engaged to somebody else, and then they end up walking away at the end from each other, even though they have this amazing connection. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes love isn't pretty. Sometimes people get hurt. I'm not condoning hurting people. But sometimes you're not with the right person, and sometimes it's never, sometimes it's not too late. And it's better to find out earlier than later, I guess. Too much coffee. I'm just rambling on now. Like I said, sometimes we get with people and we're young and we don't know what we want and we don't have experience. And then later on in life, we might meet someone that is more suited to us. And, I'm not saying, you're with somebody for money and then you meet someone with more money. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you may have someone and you have a connection with that person, and early on in life you have the same goals, the same, ideas, the same things you want to do, and then maybe things change. Maybe, like I said, sometimes I've heard of people breaking up because one of them didn't want to have kids and the other one absolutely did. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But it's better to know earlier than later, because the sooner you know, the sooner you can, fix the situation. But I always I always think about, life's funny that way. You think you have everything you want till one day you see something else, and I'm not saying that, and that might not even be the situation that's reading. Maybe you have, I'm just definitely seeing there's somebody that we're kind of avoiding with this. We don't want them to know. So, there's multiple reasons that could be. It could be maybe it's your sister's best friend. Maybe it's your brother's best friend. Maybe, but there's definitely, I definitely feel like there is got to be somebody else, because I feel like there's somebody that we're afraid of hurting. But life's funny. It's full of twists and turns. But, I don't recommend, and I would never say to, maybe you meet somebody that's more attractive than the person you're with and you go for that. That's not the connection I'm talking about here. I'm talking about someone that's deeply connected with someone else on a very deep level. But there is something that's been holding it back, but you can't hold it back forever. Anyway, be good. Take care. Stay safe.